Hello, this is Sterling here, bringing you another Halo breakdown. We're going to be going over some Optic versus Avengers gameplay on Truth Slayer. Today we're going to be talking about what happened to Optic, how did they lose their 44-40 lead, and I'm going to give a few suggestions of my opinion of what Optic could have done better in those scenarios to prevent that from happening. So let's start it off. So we see Snakebite right here seeing Ola on the P Street pushing into the blue base. He has Frosty in front of him in the blue base as well, and he has Roll 2 behind him in the car. He decides to push in and work with Frosty to take out Ola. Lito just spawns behind them on the bubble. They take out Ola right there, and then Lito rotates into the blue base. That could be seen as a loss of timing, but also could be also seen as an opportunity to make a play because they have numbers as 4v2 right now. And my suggestion at this point would be have maybe Frosty stay put in the base because he's the weakest one, and have maybe Snakebite push on the street, and then have Lethal jump top mid and do a double collapse on P2. And then maybe there might be a sliver of an opening in timing for Roll 2 to collapse in the red base because this guy might tunnel the guy pushing top mid. But I don't think that would be a smart play because I think someone on the Avengers team is about to spawn red right now. So that's one suggestion because they can try to form a setup. If they do get that P control, they can spawn trap Avengers in red base, so they'll have one guy P, maybe Frosty in blue base, they'll have Lethal top mid, and they'll have Roll 2 in the car. And this is what I call a T setup because it's kind of forming a T, having the car top mid, P, and the base. And now Avengers are going to be trapped in that 20% portion or that one sector in the red base. So that's one suggestion they could have done. Or the other thing they could have done too is just have one stay back and then two people push together on the P Street rather than jumping top mid. Because jumping top mid, that could leave you susceptible to this guy who's just anchoring the window. What ends up happening is that Lito and Snakebite both end up leaving the blue base. And this is where things start going downhill. And I want to make 3 suggestions right here at this point of what Optic could have done. And then after that, we're going to watch what they do and what happens. So my first suggestion would be having Snakebite stay put with Frosty in the base. Have one player anchor this Eli wall right here and just watch P. And then have the other guy anchoring the window, and he can cycle between this car attic and this P attic and being at this window right here, putting shots. And then they're going to try to push P if they can, if they see the opportunity. And maybe this guy can see wait for an opportunity to jump top mid as well. And then Lito is going to anchor car 2 and be in a pair with Roll 2, work with him. He can put shots across to P2, and he can be right here on this ramp and watch if anyone's pushing P1 to the base and relay information to Snakebite and Frosty. So that's one option. A second option would be Snakebite rotate to car 2, and Lethal and Roll 2 can try to push red base together. They can both push the car door if they want, or maybe one push car door and then one push from like car 1 into the red basement, or jump up right here if has the opening and just collapse. And then Snakebite will be the middleman. Car 2, he can help these 2 players pushing into the red base. He can put shots across. He can even push top mid, which can create a dilemma to where this P2 guy is going to be worried about him, and that'll maybe make it an easier transition to go into the window for one of the players pushing into the red base, or the players in the red base might be tunneling that guy top mid, and it'll be easier for these players to push into the red base. So he has that option, and he also has that option to help Frosty still and be in a long distance pair with him and work with him if just in case he needs some help. So that's the second option. And the third option would be where Snakebite and Lethal are going to be both car 2, and then one of them is going to push top mid while one of them covers him. And at this point, this can create an opening to where maybe this blue player might be able to push P because that P2 guy is distracted, or Roll 2 might have an opening to push from red into, or the red bubble into the red base. So those are a few options. There's probably some more, but those are ones I could just think of right now. watching this that Optic could have initiated. But let's now watch what they end up doing. So Snakebite goes over here to the bubble, and what ends up happening is they're creating a 3-man ratio over here on this car side. On the other hand, let's look at Frosty. I don't really like what he was doing here. I don't like his positioning, and I didn't like him cross mapping because now he's really weak, and at this point, he's not gonna see this 2-man game that's about to happen to him. He sees first he only sees the back man on the street, and he wants to contest a little bit, but now he gets shot one more time, and now this front man is gonna come in and collapse on him. And he's very important because he's the outside left extremity player right now to their setup. And now that he loses the blue base, Optic is going to be trapped on car for sure. So he's so imperative. That's why it was kind of my suggestion to have like 2 people stay back here, or even Optic try to make a push from blue base to P when they had that opening, or to even try to have a long distance pair, like maybe someone right here on the ramp who could have seen that guy P1 transition to Frosty and let him know before it even happened. So Frosty knew to just stay alive and not even contest at all and just prioritize his shields. So what Optic ends up doing at this point, they're like, okay, Frosty died, so now let's do a 3-man push into the red base to adapt. But 2 things go wrong here. One, they're not in sync in their timing in pushing to the red base. One of the reasons why is Lito. We see him blinking right now. He's one shot, so he can't push in with Snakebite. So Snakebite needs to be more patient and be like, okay, I'm gonna wait for Lito to recharge his shields and then let's push together. But instead, it's about to be a train where Snakebite goes in first, then he dies. Lito goes in second, then he dies, and then roll 2 comes in, and then he dies. They're not operating at the same tempo. And the second part of it is how Snakebite initiates or like pushes into the base. I don't like him using his thruster right here because now he doesn't have options to outstrafe this guy right here, and he's like fully committing to seeing if anyone's maybe here in the corner or maybe he's tunneled on this top mid call out. But now this is gonna be a easy kill for the guy Eli, and now Snakebite's gonna get average, so he dies. Then Lethal finally comes in, and now he's about to get high load from the guy basement, and these guys Eli shooting at him, so he dies. And then now it's roll 2 in a 3v1, and he's about to be taken out. So we're about to see Optic right here spawn. All 4 of them spawn on car. 1, 2, 3, and 4 is about to happen right here on this red bubble. So at this point, what Optic decides to do is they're like, okay, let's do a 4-man push into the red. Once they're like, okay, once Frosty spawns, because he just died again. Once he spawns, let's make a 4-man push. I don't like this push, and we're about to see why. But my suggestion would be maybe having 1 linger back in car while 3 people push in the red base. Or, I mean, I like their idea because right now the Avengers are in the U setup, and their strong side is blue right now. They got 2 players in blue, they got 1 in red, and they got 1 in P. So they have Optic in a car spawn trap, and the weak side, if they overload or they flood the red base, that's good because they only have 1 person in red while they have 2 in blue. So they're attacking the right base. I just don't like how they go about it. Just sending all 4 of them inside the red base. I think they need more vision and more information for a guy like lingering back, and we're about to see why. Maybe a few other things they could have done was maybe they can send 2 blue and 2 red, or they can have 1 person be blue bubble and keep these 2 people at bay and relay information to the rest of the team. If they do, one of them decides to rotate out, maybe if they see one of them jump top mid or one of them bump into the P, so this guy can bump into red to create a strong side red U setup. They could have maybe done something like that. Maybe have 1 guy push top mid, 1 stay in the bubble, and 2 push in the red base. There's a lot of other things they could have done. You know, you could be creative, you can be imaginative. But let's just talk about what they did, and talk about the one suggestion of maybe just having 1 person stay back. Because if they had 1 of these 4 people stay back here anchoring this ramp, so where you can rotate between here and here, you would have seen these 2 people. Oh, I see a guy P2, I see a guy in the red front basement. So once Lito drops right here, and they have a guy right here, they can already create a pinch on this guy and take him out very quickly because Lethal will force him out here, and then now this guy can force him back into the basement, or if he decides to stay in the court, he's probably going to get cleaned up from one of these attic players or this guy that's positioned right here. But instead, Optic are all in this red base, and I mean, that's they can use more teamwork together, but they don't have more angles and they don't have a person collecting more information because they're all gathering the same information because they're all in the same positions essentially. And ultimately, what ends up happening is that uh, Avengers have camo, and Optic decides, okay, we cleared out red. It seems like we have it established. Let's push two people to the car and have two people stay back. And the camo guy ends up pea shooting and taking out Snakebite, working with his backman on the bubble. And now these two players are about to die in red base, and essentially Optic is once again trapped in car, and they couldn't establish that side base. And at this point, it's already 49-46. Snakebite is about to die from Trippy right here, and that's pretty much all she wrote. So there you have it for this episode of What Happened. We see what happened to Optic and how they lost their 44-40 lead. And you heard a few suggestions I made and the three phases that we saw happen in the game. The first phase was Frosty being in that blue base and what Optic could have done better to maybe prevent him from dying or capitalize on their numbers at that point. The second phase was when Frosty ended up dying and they made an adaptive play to do a three-man push into red and how that went. And then the final phase we talked about was Optic initiating that four-man push into red and how that went and maybe what they could have done better. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It'd be awesome if you guys can subscribe. More content is going to be on the way. Like this video, please. We're going to be having a lot of different videos, and the quality is going to get better too. I have my capture card. I just gotta set that up. Because I've just been doing it from the Xbox for now. We're going to be breaking down the starts. We're going to be breaking down how to break setups. We're going to be talking about setups, how to do setup rotations. We're going to be breaking down different concepts. So yeah, there's a lot more to see. Hope you guys will stay tuned for that. So yeah, why limit yourself when you have the ability to transcend? Peace.